Have you ever ignored your intuition because logic or fear told you not to? You know the feeling I'm talking about. That quiet voice in the back of your mind saying, something's off here. That sensation in your chest that tightens when you're about to say yes to something you should say no to. That weird flutter in your stomach when you meet someone new and your body's trying to tell you something your brain hasn't figured out yet. You felt it. You knew, but you ignored it. You took the job even though your gut screamed no. You stayed in the relationship even though something felt wrong from day one. You said yes to plans you didn't want because saying no felt uncomfortable. You trusted someone your intuition warned you about because you couldn't logically explain why you shouldn't. And then, weeks, months, maybe years later, you looked back and thought, I knew, I felt it. Why didn't I listen? Here's the truth that nobody teaches us in school, that we have to learn the hard way through regret and hindsight. Your gut whispers truths your mind resists. And ignoring it doesn't just cost you opportunities or relationships. It causes stress. It creates regret. It fills you with doubt, not just about the situation, but about yourself. About whether you can trust your own judgment. About whether you even know what you want anymore. Because every time you ignore that voice, you're telling yourself, your feelings don't matter. Your instincts are wrong. Logic and other people's opinions matter more than what you know to be true. And eventually, that voice gets quieter. Not because it stopped trying to protect you, but because you stopped listening. Here's what's actually happening when you get that gut feeling. Your body is processing information faster than your conscious mind can keep up with. It's picking up on micro-expressions, tone of voice, body language, patterns, past experiences, thousands of data points that your logical brain hasn't had time to analyze yet. That tightness in your chest when you're about to make a bad decision, that's not anxiety, that's information. That pit in your stomach when someone's lying to you, that's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition. That feeling of lightness and expansion when something's right, that's not wishful thinking, that's alignment. Your body speaks a language your mind often misses. And we've been taught to ignore it, to override it, to logic our way out of what we feel. But they seem nice, so why do I feel weird around them? But this job pays well, so why does the thought of going there every day make me want to cry? But everyone says this is a good opportunity, so why does it feel wrong? Because your body knows something your brain hasn't caught up to yet. And the more you ignore it, the harder it becomes to hear it at all. We learn to distrust our intuition early. You're a kid and you say, I don't like that person, and adults tell you, that's not nice, they're being friendly, give them a chance. So you learn, my feelings are wrong. You're a teenager and something feels off about a situation, but you can't articulate why, so you go anyway because you don't want to seem weird or scared. So you learn, logic beats intuition. You're an adult, and your gut tells you something's wrong in your relationship, but everything looks fine on paper. They're attractive, successful, everyone likes them. So you stay because you can't justify leaving based on just a feeling. So you learn, evidence matters more than instinct. And then years later you're sitting there thinking, why didn't I trust myself? Because you were trained not to. We live in a culture that worships logic, data, proof, rational thinking. Show me the evidence. Explain your reasoning. What are the facts? And intuition doesn't work like that. Intuition is quiet. It's subtle. It doesn't have a PowerPoint presentation. It can't defend itself in an argument. It just knows. And we've forgotten how to listen to knowing without needing to explain it. So here's what you're going to do. Starting today. Even in small ways. Notice a gut feeling. Pause before acting. You're about to say yes to something. Before you do, stop. Check in. What does your body feel like right now? Is your chest tight? Is your stomach knotted? Are your shoulders tense? That's a no. Does your chest feel open? Does your breathing deepen? Do you feel calm or excited? That's a yes. Your body will tell you. You just have to ask it. Check how your body reacts. Someone sends you a text inviting you to something. Before you respond, notice what happens in your body. Do you feel heavy or light? Do you feel dread or anticipation? Do you want to avoid it? Or are you genuinely looking forward to it? That's data. That's information. That's your intuition giving you an answer before your brain can rationalize it away. Notice the tension or release. When you're making a decision, any decision, big or small, pay attention to what happens physically when you imagine each option. Picture yourself saying yes. How does that feel in your body? Picture yourself saying no. How does that feel? One of those will create tension, one will create release. Follow the release. Because here's what happens when you start doing this. Decision-making becomes clearer when you trust yourself. Not easier necessarily, but clearer. Because you're not fighting your own instincts anymore. You're not talking yourself out of what you know to be true. You're not second-guessing yourself into paralysis. You're just listening and then acting on what you hear. Here's your homework. Your actual, real, do this today homework. Write down one choice your intuition nudged you toward this week. Maybe it was small. Maybe you decided not to go to that party. Maybe you chose to text a friend you'd been thinking about. Maybe you said no to something you usually would have said yes to. Write it down. And then, this is the important part. Reflect on what it feels like physically. Where do you feel it in your body? Your chest, your stomach, your shoulders, your throat. What does it feel like? Tight, open, heavy, light, warm, cold. Because when you start mapping this, when you start paying attention to the physical sensations that go with your intuition, you build a language between your body and your mind. You learn to recognize, oh, that tight feeling in my chest always means this is wrong for me. Or that warm, expansive feeling always means I'm on the right path. Self-trust grows from attention and practice. It's not something you either have or don't have. It's not a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop by paying attention, by noticing, by honoring what you feel instead of dismissing it. Every time you listen to your intuition and follow it, you're building trust with yourself. You're proving to yourself, I can rely on me, my instincts are valid, I know what's right for me. And every time you ignore it, you're breaking that trust. You're telling yourself, I don't matter. What I feel doesn't count. Other people know better than I do. Here's what I need you to understand. Your instincts matter. They are your internal compass. Not your parents' compass, not your friends' compass, not society's compass. Yours, and you're allowed to follow them. Even when it doesn't make logical sense, even when you can't explain it, even when other people don't understand. You're allowed to leave the job that looks perfect on paper. You're allowed to end the relationship that everyone thinks is great. You're allowed to say no to opportunities that make other people jealous. You're allowed to say yes to things that seem risky or weird or unconventional. You're allowed to believe yourself. You're allowed to trust the information your body is giving you. You're allowed to act on feelings without having a dissertation prepared to defend your choice. Why did you turn that down? It didn't feel right. That's a complete answer. That's valid. That's enough. You don't owe anyone an explanation for trusting yourself. Okay, your turn. I need you to scroll down to the comments and answer this. When did you last trust your gut? What happened? Or if you're realizing you haven't been trusting it, when did you last ignore it? And what happened instead? Be specific. Tell the story. Because when you share it, when you name it, you start to see the pattern. You start to recognize how often your intuition was right, even when you didn't listen. Share it below. It might inspire someone to listen today. Because we learn from each other, we give each other permission. When you read someone else's story about trusting their gut and it turning out right, you think, maybe mine is valid too. And it is. It always has been. If this resonated, hit subscribe. Because we're building something here, a space where your feelings are data, where your body's wisdom matters, where trusting yourself isn't selfish or irrational, it's the most important skill you can develop. Comment below, subscribe, let's trust ourselves together. Because you already know what you know, you just need permission to believe it. Trusting yourself is a muscle. Let's strengthen it together. That gut feeling you're having right now, listen to it. You'll be glad you did.